I'd like to thank Councillor Sweet for his question, and I am delighted to say that Wandsworth Labour is freezing your council tax this year to help in the cost of living crisis. And residents here in Wandsworth will pay the lowest average council tax in the country. And this freezing, the main element of council tax, is a key part of our plan to deliver a fairer, more compassionate, more sustainable borough. This is a hugely popular policy, and its achievement, a huge achievement in this year of really very high inflation. I want to thank all of the officers that have worked so hard on this, and also councillor colleagues as well. There will be an increase of 2% in the social care levy to support the NHS and care for our most vulnerable. I think that's the right thing to do. And let's not forget that under Labour, Wandsworth has created the biggest cost of living response in London. That's £5 million fund to help people with their soaring bills. So local people know that we are on their side. They know Labour will charge the same low council tax and deliver better services for all.
Supplementary.
Supplementary, Councillor Sweet.
Supplementary, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. Not only has the leader broken his word and tried to persuade residents that a 2% increase is in fact a promise to keeping a promise to deliver a cut, but he has also completely refused to stand up to the Mayor of London, who has eye-wateringly increased his precept by 9.7% in a cost of living crisis. The Conservative group submitted a response to the Mayor's consultation on his precept rise, urging him not to go ahead with it. Why didn't the Labour group submit a response? Is it because they don't care? Is it because they agree with the increase? Or is it because they're just afraid to stand up to the Mayor of London?
Councillor Hogg.
Thank you for that supplementary. I mean, I think we've been here before. The Mayor has very different responsibilities. He's taking care of the fire service, parts of housing, the police, and that money is being passed on to those crucial frontline services. So you'll have to tell us which ones you want to cut if you object to it. I think it's funny that they talk about attempting to mislead the public on council tax. They're the ones who did that, spent the campaign saying we were going to increase it by 10%, we were going to double it up to Lambeth levels. It's absolutely ridiculous. The opposition is now misleading the public with talk of a 2% increase in council tax. When residents receive their bills, the figure next to Wandsworth Council will be the same as it was last year, because we are freezing council tax. Well, those aren't my words, those are the exact words that the former leader wrote in an email to residents 2 years ago when council tax was frozen and the social care was increased. As he spoke about our decision to freeze council tax, same as this year. The council itself said in 2021 that it was freezing its share of the council tax bills. Press release and tweets talked about the decision to freeze council tax, same as this year. And it's been the same all the time I've been on the council and you've been on the council. As I say, we will take the adult social care precept, as the opposition did every single year they're in power, and I hope that won't become a political football. This administration will continue to describe council tax remaining the same as being a freeze, as both parties have for years and years. It's no use trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. People aren't stupid. They can see that Labour have a sound grip on the finances and we are delivering for local people.
Second supplementary.
Second supplementary, Councillor Marshall.
Free as they are of the onerous responsibility of actually putting this into practice, the opposition party has proposed a 3% cut in the main council tax. Can the leader please explain what the impact of this in the real world, where we actually find ourselves today, would be?
So I thank Councillor Marshall for that question. The 3% proposed cut would cost the council around £2 million a year in lost revenue. You're trying to set a budget that would spend more money than we would, and that would inevitably hit the front line. Just to explain this to the councillor, that would be the equivalent of 20% cut in our mental health services, 40% of what we spend on our library services, and it would actually mean cutting 100% on what we spend on fostering and adoption services. So, we know their vision for Wandsworth because we lived it for 40 years. We have different priorities, we have different values. The Tories don't support our cost of living freeze, they didn't support our cost of living package, and they have sacrificed their financial credibility.
Question 2 on the Wandsworth one-way system. Councillor Sweet.
Question 2 to the Leader.
I thank Councillor Sweet for that question. Improving the one-way system, we'll all be painfully familiar with it outside the Town Hall, is a key priority for this council, as I know it was for the previous administration. And this administration is going to try and take as proactive and cooperative approach as it can with TfL and with the Mayor of London to try and get forward motion. I think the one-way system will benefit from us working closely with the Mayor, as we also, we've seen results already in terms of building the homes the borough needs, cooperating with Sadiq, getting free school meals for children in the borough as well. Working with the Mayor of London, not against him, will get results. And we will happily work cooperatively to make sure we get a one-way system that's fit for purpose. And, I think there'll be wider benefits there. And I hope the Leader of the Opposition will continue his work to pull in the same direction and get results.
First up, Councillor Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Power has a knack of revealing who people really are. And we see it already in this council's approach to scrutiny. I have to say, power exposes leaders most. And over time, the yes men and sycophants tend to advance. But that does normally take time, and the most nauseating praise is usually left to eager backbenchers on the make. In moving tonight's motion, the Leader of the Council performs the unusual, premature, and somewhat contorted feat of blowing smoke up his own arse. Perhaps he's running low on confidence. His group have deposed him once already, but at least he has Councillor Henderson, ready to puff where others would hesitate to venture. As for smoke, however, the burning remains of the Labour manifesto provide enough
Point of order
to choke.
Son, point of order.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Point of order.
Standing Order 20F, is it in order for a member to insult other members of this council?
Can you temper your language, a little bit unconstitutional language?
Do you have a preferred term,
Councillor
Mr.
Graham.
I'll just try to avoid the term if there's no mayoral ruling on that. This is an administration which pledged on page 17 of its manifesto, we will cut council tax, insisting we believe in fairness, and that means a modest reduction in council tax. An administration that in the week of poll promised Labour will cut your council tax next year. An administration whose best defence, in the words of On London, is that Labour made vague, misleading and contradictory pledges. But there was nothing vague about this. Perhaps Councillor Henderson remembers it. Wandsworth Labour will cut 1% on council tax bills in Wandsworth. That's what you are not. But that's what you told voters in West Putney. You won 2 of the seats in West Putney. You lied. And compounding your lie tonight is your insistence that council tax is staying the same when you're increasing it. It's fairly simple. Higher bills aren't the same bills. You haven't even kept your commitment from July to consider the possibility of cutting council tax alongside other options. You all voted here to include a council tax cutting proposal in discussions for council tax setting for the year 23-24 in March 2023. It is March 2023. The proposal wasn't in the Finance Committee papers. It wasn't discussed at the executive meeting. And it's only in the papers tonight because we put it there as a motion. Back in July, you wanted to blame the government, and Councillor Henderson was still trying. But you can't, because as officers have explained, the local government's finance settlement was more generous than anyone expected. In fact, since setting departmental budgets last month, you've had an £8 million windfall. It will cost just £2 million to keep your word. You've just found 2 million out of nowhere this evening. But instead of your belief in fairness, meaning a modest reduction, you are choosing, in Councillor Hogg's words, to hurt renters, older people, and those on modest incomes. It's the government providing over £10 million to pay for your cost of living achievements. You've spent £2.7 million from reserves you inherited. Of that, 100,000 has gone to a cost of living commission, which has yet to produce a single idea or proposal. And £5,000 paid for a new carpet for Councillor Akinola. No wonder, Mr. Mayor, they want more and more decisions to be taken in private, behind closed doors. But the public know when they are being taken for fools. This is an administration which is charging the social care precept while cutting the budget for adult social care and health by over 4 million. That has Councillor Henderson tell us he's proud in previous answers his department's money is going for extra staff in housing, only to bank a 7% vacancy rate in housing staff. An administration that has the brazen effrontery to announce a tax freeze, having delivered an increase and promised a cut. You lied, and it would take more than smoke to escape your word.
Councillor Hogg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm proud to say Wandsworth Labour is freezing your council tax this year to help in this cost of living crisis, and I'm not going to get tired of saying residents in Wandsworth will pay the lowest average council tax in the country. Local people love this policy. More than 100,000 of them have already seen it online, and feedback has been fantastic. They can see a new council that's on their side with fresh ideas and a strong, diverse team. Freezing the main element of council tax is a key part of our plan to deliver a fairer, more compassionate, more sustainable borough. Wandsworth Labour will charge the same low council tax and deliver better services for all. Alongside a freezing council tax, our strong principal team has been busy. Councillor Gasser provided free monthly mega skips, guaranteed to keep your weekly bin collections, and is expanding our food waste collection pilot. Councillor Deacadem will deliver 1,000 new council homes guaranteed for local people and their sons and daughters. Plus, he's going to introduce landlord licensing to drive up standards, drive out those worst road landlords. Councillor Akinola worked hard with residents and with the voluntary sector to support more than 800 Ukrainian refugees fleeing the war. And Councillor Fraser recently christened our 100th bike hanger and has ambitious plans to get us up to 300. And she's announced £5 million of extra investments in our streets, roads and pavements. Working in partnership with local people, we've delivered on the priorities of local people in our first year. But what we couldn't have imagined in May are the unforeseen challenges, the dreadful invasion of Ukraine, the subsequent energy price spikes, driving huge inflation, which of course has stretched the council's budgets, as with every organisation. Our response was twofold. First, to warmly welcome those hundreds of refugees and to commit to be a borough of sanctuary. And second, to launch the biggest cost of living response in London. In fact, we believe in the country, £5 million. And that work has included, as we touched on earlier, Councillor Stock organising free school uniforms for hard-pressed families, activities for young people, and meals and vouchers for food during the summer holidays. Councillor Henderson, who I was glad to see has had his Weetabix today, insisted on COVID tests for frontline workers, and he got that. And we announced free gym and swim for residents who receive universal credit or free school meals. So should we have gone further? Should we have cut council tax, as the opposition says? I don't think so. I don't think it's sensible to cut council tax by 3% next year. That would cost the council £5 million by the next election. Now, I know you didn't support, at £6 million actually, and I know you didn't support our cost of living package, but that would reverse all of it. No free school uniforms, no warm spaces, no funding for charities, no top-up payments for those paid below the London living wage. Those are the wrong priorities. Wandsworth is a young, tolerant, well-educated, healthy and happy borough. People look out for each other and expect a politics that is open and cooperative, not petty, and mean. And you can keep offering, constructive opposition, but if all you do is fall back and empower the same bully boy tactics, no one's going to believe you. As promised, we opened up the books, we cancelled wasteful spending, and we made the council's assets work harder. More than £10 million of savings were found in departmental budgets, while actually improving frontline services. We froze council tax and set a balanced budget using less than 1% of the council's reserves. A wonderful achievement by Councillor Ireland, which we thank her for, and we thank Mrs. Merry and all of the finance team in what's been a very difficult year for local government. And I'd also just briefly like to thank someone who was the architect of our council tax over many years but couldn't finish the journey with us, Andy Gibbons, who put in a huge amount of work on this. And we have put in place a sound foundation, and now we look to the future, and I'm telling you, we are only just getting started. Our plan will make Wandsworth fairer, and it will correct decades of Tory underinvestment in our homes, in our streets, in our leisure facilities, in our council fleet of vehicles, in our voluntary sector, in our workplace. This is a fantastic place to live. Labour's long-term plan will help keep Wandsworth special and make sure all our residents can share in the fantastic opportunities it creates.
The time is up for questions to Cabinet members. I would now like item 19, the motion on honouring election promises, cutting council tax by 1% to be taken next. Can I ask Councillor Peter Graham to move and Councillor Hedges to second the motion in their names?
Formally moved.
Seconded. Thank you.
I understand there are no amendments being proposed and there are no speakers on this motion, so we'll move straight to a vote on item 19. All those in favour?
Names, Mr. Mayor. Would request names.
Need 6 people. Yeah, are there 6 people? Okay, we'll have a name vote. We'll move straight. You're going to go through the list. Yeah. Straight into it. Yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Fine.
Good evening, councillors. If you could please, when I call your name, indicate whether you wish to vote for, against or abstain on the motion. Councillor Akinola.
Against.
Councillor Annan.
Against.
Councillor Apps.
Against.
Councillor Ayres.
Against.
Councillor Belton. Against. Councillor Birchall. Councillor Birchall. For. Councillor Boswell.
Against.
Councillor Brooks. For. Councillor Caddy. Councillor Cllr.
Against.
Councillor Cook. For. Councillor Cooper is absent. Councillor Corner. For. Councillor Critchard.
Against.
Councillor Crivelli. For. Councillor Davies.
Against.
Councillor de la Sejoule.
For.
Councillor Dickadam. Councillor Dobrez is not in her place. Councillor French is absent. Councillor Forbes. Councillor Forbes? Not here. Councillor Fraser. Councillor Fraser's not here either. Councillor Gasser. Councillor Gossain. Councillor Gilbert.
Against.
Councillor Govindia. Councillor Mrs. Graham is absent. Councillor Peter Graham.
For.
Councillor Grimston.
Against.
Councillor Hamilton. Councillor Hedges.
For.
Councillor Henderson.
Against.
Councillor Hogg. Councillor Humphreys. Councillor Ireland.
Against.
Councillor Jaffrey. Councillor Jaffrey.
Against.
Councillor Jeffries. Councillor Justin. Councillor Lee.
Against.
Councillor Locker. Councillor Marshall.
Against.
Councillor Mayorkas. Councillor Mayorkas is not present. Councillor MacLeod.
Against.
Councillor Osborne.
Against.
Councillor Owens.
4.
Councillor Paul is absent. Councillor Pridham. 4. Councillor Richard Jones.
4.
Councillor Rigby.
Against.
Councillor Stock.
Against.
Councillor Sutters.
4.
Councillor Sweet. Councillor Tiller.
Against.
Councillor Varatharaj is absent. Councillor White.
Against.
Councillor Worrell.
Against.
And Councillor Yates.
Against.
Mr. Mayor, just as a matter of record, was the division bell rung before that? I just make that point.
Yeah, could you check on the division bell, please? Because somebody else has commented on that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, we got. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Belson, for raising that point. It's fair, it should have been. The motion is lost. The motion is lost. 21 votes for and 27 votes against.